Welcome back to the artist always known as Alejandro, which is me. Yeah. Hey, you got a blank screen with a blank canvas. It's time to do some sketching, illustrating, drawing. And I figure since the last video had my galactic guard, Myrluna, I'm going to bring in some of her other teammates in these next series of videos. So let's start with the leader of the group. Now, back when I called them the Galactic Guards, the leader was called the Sun Guard. Geez, guess what he associates with? So yeah, it's associated with suns. S-U-N-S. In solar systems, he can connect with suns, he can fly through suns, he has solar powers, he can fly, he shoots solar blasts, and smart calculating dude. And he is part of this team. Maybe I'll call him the Solarans, or does that sound really quirky? The Interstellars is like, Well, I'll see. Either way, he's the leader of the group. And he's a very heroic dude, and I started off with a pencil sketch. I've been doing a lot of poses. You can see there's some here that I might use later on in some other things, but for now, let's get our little pencil going. Select our red, green, blue color here. I think maybe, there's 7, maybe. So I have been playing around with lots of poses. Seen some other artists, and one artist learned from a master artist this crazy method of doing 60, that's 60, 1-minute poses, sketching them. So that's an hour worth of poses. Some may turn out lame, some may bear fruit, but it's the whole process of doing it. I actually did it once. Some of these I've done here and there, but I did it in one sitting. Had to get up a few times to sharpen the pencils, but I did. Oy and vey. And so I just did this one, and okay, that should be a good heroic pose for Solaran, the Sun Guard. I'm just going to go back and forth, just play around with this. Again, I really probably should work on my Loomis method here, perhaps. I think I have the head size right. I tend to draw heads bigger than what they really should be on bodies. It seemed to haunt me as a kid. I kind of had a grasp for it. Then again, I was drawing every day. And this guy doing the 61-minute poses, his teacher told him to do it for 6 months straight. Do not break the cycle. I'd be like, what? 61-minute poses per day? Now the question is, I didn't even think about this till now. Do you do the 60 minutes of poses straight all the way through, or can you do some in the morning, some at night? It didn't really tell you that part. But we'll just keep moving along. Save your sketch always. I'm going to get a little closer here. I have to get an idea. I want him kind of looking off to the side in a very heroic way. Look at our line on the middle here. To look at the top of his head. Get that eye line right. There's something I learned from the Marvel method is that you do a triangle here, and this should be the corners of your mouth. From the brow, your triangle should equal the corners of the mouth. And then from there you do a triangle at the bottom I guess this is where the middle of the mouth is, and then where this triangle goes is where the chin should end. Kind of almost lines up. That was the Marvel method, I think. Like I said, I found my Marvel book. I was looking through it. Then I was watching the video of David Finch, artist, doing referencing that book and doing some poses in a Bart Sears style. If you don't know Bart Sears, he's another artist who's done comic books, and he can really do the heroic thing and show muscles in a very unique way. I almost think they kind of have a He-Man action figure feel to them, but they're in proportion, not like the gigantic torso He-Man tends to have. But anyway, wow. That's right, I said wow. Just getting a rough idea. Well, as of now, he does have a fin in his head, just like my character, Phaser. I don't know, fin kind of works, maybe? We'll see. And a mask, which seems... I don't know why they need a mask. It's not like their secret identities are going to do anything. But the mask is kind of part of, yeah. It's kind of what's his thing. I don't know now, looking at this triangle thing, maybe it should come up to here, because maybe I'm getting this wrong. Because your lips are generally not too far from your nose. They probably should start right about here. But the problem I'm going to have is now his face is too small. Seems to be something I'm having issues with lately. But I can always make it larger, right? The beauty of the digital world. You know, this back and forth is... I kind of prefer it, but... Because when if you're penciling, you are doing this back and forth, you can hear it. As you can see, I erased some stuff here. Kind of when I'm looking up to the heavens. I'm doing a little lighter. Trying a lighter approach. See if that helps me with eyes. And eyes are my nemesis. I did kind of the traditional mask thing where it has this, almost like Captain America's, has this little space. Yeah, a little better. He's taking flight to go up there and check out stuff in space. He's a very spacey dude. And this is just the pencil phase, guys. Well, there's the pencil layer underneath, but this is the digital pencil. And his ear will be behind the cowl. Some of this stuff. It's distracting. I think we got most of the stuff lined up the way I want. I don't know what space I was in when I created the Galactic Guards. It was this kind of time in my life. It was my teen years, and I was just creating characters left and right. I don't know what inspired me. You know, at that time, Marvel and DC had their who's who and their Marvel universe, so you could see all the characters and read about them. And I think that played heavily on my creations. Like, they get these poses of these characters, like, oh wow. But, you know, there was new characters being brought in, and it just inspired me to create some of my own concoctions. I mean, I told you I have some really wild ones from my childhood. Get his shoulder blades. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I just want the separation from there. His shoulder muscle. I was breaking this down a little bit. I know that David Finch's video, he was breaking them down into like muscle groups here. Stuff like that. It's like, oh wow, we're going there, huh? And you know, I definitely see the benefit in that. I'll have to try it for another video. Not quite there. I mean, you have to try it. Well, so much. He's a big dude. He's not going to be Schwarzenegger or Dwayne Johnson size, but he's a big dude. He's got muscles. He's working out in space. Hey, zero gravity, man. Lots of resistance training there, man. So I like we can do all this stuff while we're playing around. Dimensionally, you know, I still just don't know how to explain it to you what's the distance between the forearm or where the hand begins. I just kind of know. Even this might seem a little too much here. I do like drawing hands with closed fists like this. You don't have fingers, but you have the knuckles. Hand might be too big, but let's see. Actually, not too bad. Coming along, Solaran, Sun Guard. I mean, if you want, you can continue your middle line going down here, so at least you have a little guide. And if you really, as you can see, I drew a line to accentuate where the rib cage is. Might need to be a little deeper for a dude, but you get the idea, because the men will have these bigger upper chests and it kind of narrows down here. Women tend to have it kind of get small. I mean, they have bosoms, but it gets small here, but their hips are a little wider. Men don't really have hips that don't lie in the comic book world. But you get the idea. I mean, they can, but your superheroes tend to not. I want these to be symmetrical. I stopped here. As you can see, I ran out of paper, but that's what we do here. There we go. You draw the muscle. In here, this is where there's this muscle where the opposite side of the elbow is connecting to the forearm. Just have to imagine his forearm being a little bigger. And that's where his other fist will go. And he's just fisted. I was thinking about drawing him doing some solar flaring. I just wanted him in a heroic pose. I know Myrluna is just kind of pointing. She's doing nothing with her powers, but she's being cute. She's kind of the sassy one in the group. With fists. Hey, turn it on the side, it's better. Get close, right? If you look at your fist, it can tend to raise up here. but then it does this thing. And then you get your fingers like that if you want to take it literally. And then there is a little bit of this going on from the palm, your palm being squeezed. And then this usually can go right up against it with your thumb. And then sometimes you have these wrinkles and stuff, but you don't really. Actually, this thumb should be back just a little bit. Always erased. All right, reverse, reverse. The chest, you know, you can accentuate the chest. I kind of like having just a little bit there, and then this. For guys, I don't really like to connect them. You could, and even actually, I kind of like to make it my lines that do that later on. So we'll just throw him in there for now. I think I really should have more rib cage for him. Yeah, the guy's rib cage tend to be bigger. See, if you take a skeleton, I think his rib cage would be a little bigger. You could do that. Just give you the idea of the dimensions you want. But I think my pencil drawing was kind of where it's at. We're going to wind up here. I just kind of want him floating and thinking about life in space. That, and you have his abs. His little 4-pack. Do I do a 6-pack? Generally not. I mean, you could have a 6-pack. In space, no one can hear you. 6-pack it. What? What does that even mean? I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go, man. Bear with me. Okay, I need to zoom in. This is where the waist will begin. You can draw a waistline if you want. If it's a good guide for you. And again, this is just kind of what the dudes happens to the guys. They just kind of have here. They're not going to have big hips. They tend not to in their superhero world. And I did give him like underwear thing on the outside, like Superman, and traditional Hawkman, and Batman. And the Vision has it. Because, you know, that was the thing. Underwear over the costume was in, man. And I'm very happy that they're doing what with the new Superman. It's his costume. It's his uniform. Let's see. So he is going to be, these legs are going to be very similar. Just got to make sure the distances are right. You can break these into little segments too if you want. We definitely want our muscles here. Like I said, you could do it that way to show the emphasis on the muscles. Tend to be there. Let me just go wide and see how we're looking. It's a good proportion. Let me see. That's where I have the knee, huh? I don't know. I think he might need to have longer legs. Let's see. Now this leg's going to be in front of that one. Obviously, the top part of the leg is going to be bigger than the bottom. I think I might need to go just a little lower. Now, proportionally, it looks weird. Yeah, I think I got it. go a little lower, just a little lower down here. The knees go here. So I'm just going to make a kneecap block there. These legs should be pretty much the same. So kneecap block goes. So all he's doing is just, he basically almost has his legs together as much as one can, but no matter how close you put your legs together, there's always a little separation. So there. So there. So you could draw them in if you really want to. It helps. You know there's going to always have your center line if you need it. I don't really use it that much with the legs. So I know where I'm going to be heading. This is the area I may stop. But I want his feet pointing because he is floating in the air. Now I did go to the end of the page, but I will have to stretch it. Hopefully what I'm doing down here will translate back up in here. Let's go wide. This. Okay! Time to ink the man. We are in that phase. The face. Well, in between a few seconds, I did alter the shape of his head a little bit, worked on his eyes a little bit, trying to get the portions of his body a little bit the way I want them. Well, looking at how to draw the Marvel way, they say something that I just don't get, that the elbows, here they say, the elbows just fall a little bit below the waist. I don't get that. I mean, here's his waist, and these elbows are right there. It looks normal to me, but you just look at the wider shot. It just looks normal. I don't know. Anyhow, let's get to the face. I always like to start with the face because it leads to everything else down below. In this area, we just like, well, I just prefer to do the straight line all the way through. I could do that and then always join the lines. I could go all the way through here. This thing. A little character. I could go to the vector. It's so annoying. It's not as easy as it seems to just trace over what you've done. Because there's a finesse. Holding the stylus is very different than holding a pencil. And you can change the way it feels just by going a little lighter on your strokes. Really want to get closer. Eyes, you know me and eyes. Since he has a cowl, I'm going to do the outside first, where his brow would be. The eyes. Yeah, I'll go smaller, make it a 5. Looking up at the great mystery in the sky. wanted to communicate with the sun, man. He knows the language of the sun. Or any sun. On any planet. That's his thing. That's his special Thors. Made the neck a little longer. Looking at the marble way, it just seems like the neck's still seem a little disproportionate, though. You know, it just seems like too much neck. Look at it. Because, yeah, some guys' shoulders are up here. I mean, he's a little more slender, but he's still muscular. He's doing his ab workout and his lifting suns. Pushing quasars. A lot of resistance training in space, man. Make the form a little bigger. Maybe not Ninja Warrior big. His fist. His hands seem a little disproportionately big, but what I think I'll do is I'll draw it separately because I do like what I got going on here. Then I'll just attach it later. Moving right along. Whoopsie daisy. I really should take one of the drawings from in there and play with it. Usually this lines up with the chest, the bottom of the shoulder muscle. According to this, well, here it's actually a little bit higher than the chest. Ugh. Straight across. I'm good. Whoa. Come on. There we go. Some decent sized tries. That's from firing his solar blasts. Once again with the fists, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna keep it the same proportion for now, but we'll shrink it later. Doing them separately. That's a big fist. Well, let's connect the lines. Always good to connect the lines. You can always erase parts you don't need and then keep what you want. And maybe even reconnect. You don't really have much curves in this representation in the book. Gotta draw superhero underwear. Just gotta have superhero underwear in case you have a super accident in space. Ha ha. Not Solaran. Although he's partially responsible for what happens in Fight to Save the Universe. Well, what happens leading everybody to being sent to different universes. There we go. And I made these ridiculous. I was almost going for that Bart Sears big. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He is a great artist. Come on, hold on there, baby. There we go. I want him kind of like almost bending his toes down, like he's trying to get a little aerodynamic. Just drawing a line for the ankles. Want everything to match. This might be a little bigger because it's closer to the viewer. It shouldn't be that much of a difference. He's got this little design. I've always had this kind of thing where the trying to mimic something like a sun. Because he's the sun guy, you know? Let's start here and end there. I probably gave him a belt. I kind of like this thing going on with his gloves. Although I'm not sure if I did that before. I'll have to show you. The way he's been drawn hasn't changed. I think I gave him a little belt. I don't know, it seems like you always need a belt to separate underwear, right? Just to have underwear there by itself doesn't seem right. You need that. I didn't give him boots. I just didn't feel he needed boots. I mean, so far. Ah, Sun Guard has gone through some revisions in split seconds, right? Well, some proportions just seemed off. This ink phase really does get to me. It seems like it should be more simple. I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that. I think we'll see. For this video, we'll just continue now. We're going to do a little shading details. I think I've got him proportionately the way I want him. So let's go into those little details in the shading and musculature phase. I'm staring out into space. It is the final frontier, right, dude? You know what, to be honest, I think I'll just give him this color myself. Do him this way. A little more control and can give it a little light. I like that. Might add something here to accentuate where the nose is. Give him his little cheek muscles there, because why not? A little something. Well, let's get a little more. I want to complement the shape here. Maybe even give something to the. See, now I want this to be like that. I don't really like adding this stuff to these things. It just kind of cheapens them. If you wanted to add maybe that, okay. Give it that little fin effect. Boy, this chin is really bothering me. It just seems disproportionate. A little better. Hey. We'll roll with that. Make this a little. Okay. The belbow, the neck, the chin. Yeah, there's something sneaking in there, see? Alright, back to the details layer. I have made my turnip pin at 4, so it really can give me a chance to work in the finer details. Stroke by stroke here. I'm going to add a little something here too. And of course, there's a little shoulder blade action here. This one a little bigger. We'll do a little thing there. Alright. I'm going to go back down to the 4. I would like them a little more rounded. See, now it's smaller. I can work a little more lightly. Then, of course, I put these in for the shoulder blade accentuation and syncopation. There we go. Got to stop it there, but I'm going to add some more here. And I like to do the ones here. Might make these a little far from there, because if we're getting some reflection from a sun or something, and if I go past, it's okay, I can always erase. I'll do the same thing here. Just for dudes, it seems cool to have this extra shading to show off their chest muscles. They put a lot of hard hours into the space gym. A little bit of the rib definition. So I usually see them have like rib here and a rib there. Here a rib, there a rib, everywhere a rib. I sometimes just kill myself with my quirky jokes. Damn the jokes. To quote Mr. Martin Lawrence from a 30-year-old movie, Bad Boys, what you gonna do? See, a lot of them do is this thing, yeah. Because you like to draw the line, then you do that. Comes off, and then you start doing that stuff. Start showing off where the definition's happening. 1 pack, 2 pack, 3 pack. And you don't have to make them connected. 4 pack. And you can even add the accentuation here with the abs have that nice definition for dudes. Shading this way. Do this muscle definition. We'll add this one in here. Maybe even a little shade for the tricep. It's great having it this small brush size. It can really get into the detail more. And not kind of constricted. Like it's just too big. If you want to press a little more, you could add a little more here. Just go lightly. Which is what I'm doing. So why not? Actually, I kind of think this is a little bit more excessive. Wrist. I'll have a, let me see, here. I'll do longer lines. We'll just do a little bit of that for that. You know, that does kind of wrinkle up as you clench your fists. And then a little bit of, yeah, I don't want that. That's it. Now we'll move on to his other. Let's make it. Yeah. I did this weird thing. Let me see if I can get rid of it. Wait, can I get rid of it? Okay, yeah, that was a bit much. He's a nice guy, but it's a bit much. I'll accentuate that a little. in the elbow muscle. There'll be a little bit of, maybe a little muscle there. You can have, like I said, I like to have longer lines when you're doing the forearm. You can do your little lines there, but I'm just not feeling it for that. I do like to do my knuckle lines, the veins, and then something going on. You can have this. Alright, it's clenching his fist. You can even have a little bit of accent on that thumb. Let's see. Maybe we'll have a little bit of this going on because of the reflection of that. Anything we can make this darker. Maybe a little bit there, not too much. Alright, let's pull back. I think I can live with that. Doesn't need to be super duper pronounced on this guy. Just give a little more detail the other. I mean, there's some spots that just, you say less is more, but sometimes for dudes it just seems like you just need a little bit more. I know I always draw the line here. Because there's this thing where we like to have this, like, it's almost like it's collecting water in a way. Like this is filling up, and then you come here. You don't necessarily have to do that. The shin looks cool if you can get it in there. You can even do this kind of thing for the shin. He's not barbaric. So he's going to be in good shape, but he doesn't fight that way. Usually relying on energy-based powers. If it had to come down to fisticuffs, homeboy would throw down. Actually, I would prefer to put his ankles on regularly here. And add the details. Something like that. We could do the little rim on the toes if you want to. See how that looks. We can add a little bit of something here for, might be more shaded. I don't like this knee. Hold on. Let me erase this kneecap. Oh, this looks terrible. There you go. Let's go wide. Sun guard, you look alright, man. Alright, there's your Solaran, the Sun Guard. Just enough muscle to make him heroic. Don't need to overdo it. There he is. The second of the Interstellars. The Galactic Guards, as I used to call them in my youth. But here he is. Remember, you could draw this in pencil or on pen, on paper, if you want. Just doing it this way. In the future, I will do some pencil drawings for you. You know, this stage is like, how do you do that? Obviously, there's artists on streaming services that can do that, and I'll be one of them. It's just a lot easier this way than trying to set up a paper and all that. But anyway, thanks for joining me with Solaran, the Sun Guard. And we'll see you next time with another one of these guards for you. Alright, appreciate you all. Like and subscribe, and I'll bring you more. This is the artist formerly known as Alejandro saying thank you for drawing with me, Solaran, and we'll see you in the next video next week. Keep creating.